and welcome to yet another episode of Beyond the Present podcast. My name is Daniel Morgan. I'm here joined by Poujix, live from Toronto. Hey there, my man. How's it going?
Hey there, guys. Everything's great. How are you?
Fantastic. And we have Marvin back. That's right. He's back for yet another episode. Marvin, my man, how's it going?
I'm pretty good. Thank you. How are you?
I am doing terrific and glad to have you with us one more time because this episode is really right up your alley, Marvin, because we're going to talk about artificial intelligence, also known as AI. So let's guys go ahead. For those of our listeners who have no idea what AI stands for or what it means, let's first define the damn thing. So Poujix, what is AI?
I don't know in terms of definition, actually. That's a good question. But AI means artificial intelligence, essentially meaning that we are trying to create intelligence artificially. So the intelligence that we have as human beings, even in primates that is biological, now we are going to go ahead and create it right now, silicon-based, with our computers.
Fantastic. So Marvin, you're the expert in this case. What is exactly artificial intelligence?
So, well, it consists out of two words, right? So intelligence is the same as for humans, the skill to solve a problem by applying knowledge, by, learning, by reasoning. And then the artificial part about it is just that it's not biological. It's just, it's created after, the machine was created by itself. So like it's applied to it. It's artificial.
Fantastic. So ultimately, you all mentioned this, machine learning and all that. Go ahead, Poujix.
Yeah, I found a sort of definition on Techopedia. It's called artificial intelligence. AI is an area of computer science that emphasizes this creation of intelligent machines that work and react like humans.
Fantastic. So we're talking about simulating human cognitive thinking and allowing machines to think for themselves. So a lot of our listeners should know this. There's a huge difference between programming a computer versus designing artificial intelligence. Because when you're coding, if this, then that, then you give an algorithm to this machine using your programming, and this allows the machine to function in a certain way. However, AI does not mean advanced programming. AI means the machine can learn on its own, make decisions by itself, and live autonomously like a real human being. And of course, this field is really hyped these days, and there's a lot of debate as well as controversy surrounding the issue. So let's talk about what AI means to us. After we define what it is, let's talk about the implications of AI on our societies today. So Poujix, with the current technology of AI, how do you think this thing is touching our lives these days?
Well, I mean, we're seeing the first very real implications of artificial intelligence in terms of we started off a little bit a while ago with a lot of things being automated. Like we were talking about self-driving cars that could have a huge implications on our society. And as we obviously grow further in time and our technology gets better and gets safer and more accurate, one of the first areas that we will be talking about are job displacements, perhaps. So those could be the top popular culture talking points. Real-life impacts of artificial intelligence, and obviously way more.
Fantastic. So, Marvin, how do you think AI is affecting our lives today?
Well, it's starting, right? As Poujix mentioned, it's coming more and more. You see it, I think, mostly in basically services that collect your data and try to, improve their performances. So say you have like the Google Assistant, for example,
that's right,
gathering your information, trying to gain knowledge out of it, and then try to perform better, be a better assistant. So we're seeing that already more and more. Poujix mentioned self-driving cars. That's another thing that's coming up. But AI is, in my perspective, not just, giving us new fancy gadgets that can speak to us. I think we're going to see a huge change, similar or like comparing to the Industrial Revolution.
Wow.
That's not just new gadgets, new stuff that's coming. It's going to be economically relevant.
Absolutely.
It's going to be big.
You see, guys, that's what I think about AI. I really think AI is the next thing because First of all, I'm very excited about this technology because it's going to get more and more advanced over the years. However, the very fact that AIs, as opposed to computer programs, AIs can think by themselves, this could lead to a lot of repercussions. I mean, just imagine, of course, we've all watched Terminators and like robots turning against humans and whatnot, but those are just works of fiction. But when you think about like the economic impacts of AI, I mean, let's talk a little bit about this one for our listeners, because today, AI is, even as of now, it's already taken a lot of jobs. So, with the current trend that we're seeing in the field of AI, what do you think are gonna be the results of the development of AI in our jobs and careers, and how will this affect our economy? So, first, you Poujix, how is AI affecting our economy these days, and how will this impact change as this trend of AI development continues over the years?
So yeah, one aspect would be economy, which I'll get to in a second. But before that, I want to also point out that today we're using some techniques such as machine learning to actually identify diseases, find pathogens for these potential diseases. This is happening as we speak.
That's a good point, yeah.
So it's going to be perfected, obviously. So you, for example, have 1,000 like potential pathogens for a disease or something. You want to solve a problem. Well, it would be very costly to actually go ahead and test every single one of them to find the best one. So what we would do, we would actually, based on machine learning algorithms, looking for patterns, find the ones that are most promising, and then start testing those. And most of those 1,000 pathogens are irrelevant.
Wow.
Few of them are very close to best existing pathogen, and then you can go ahead and apply that. So that those are the things that are currently happening, and it's going to be better. So we're going to be much better at curing diseases. Obviously, the cost of all these things are going to come down because, again, inherently it's a very costly procedure to find cure for diseases. This is going to help a lot. So that's one aspect that ties down with the economy, of course, because we all care about our health. When we all spend a lot on it to make sure that we're living, that will have a dramatic effect, of course. And there are, of course, other aspects of it, and like one of the things that you can think about is that eventually humans have to rest. Machines don't, not necessarily. And with the perfection of technology, they will cost less than humans will.
Wow.
Because, sort of, give or take. I mean, it depends. But their productivity will be much higher. Again, they don't have to rest, so we can run them 24/7 potentially. There are a lot of benefits, of course, to lowering costs in manufacturing specifically. And engineering things better and to closer to perfection, essentially.
Fantastic. We're going to head towards the future in a moment, but let's go here to Marvin. So Marvin, you are an expert in system design. How is the AI technology affecting our jobs today at this time?
Well, I think we're already seeing it, that kind of, some jobs are getting replaced. Not just because of AI, but more because of like technology in general.
That's right.
But the changes that are about to come, they're gonna be huge in terms of not only jobs being replaced that contain like simple tasks, like just mechanical work or stuff like that. We also gonna see a replacement in jobs that contain a lot of creative work. Jobs that contain like where thinking is important, where intelligence is important.
That's right.
That's what artificial intelligence is going after, and that's going to be huge.
It is so
there's
true.
There's a lot of people out there that think my work is like I'm creative, or I have emotions, so it's very unlikely that I'm going to be replaced by a machine. But we're already seeing AI, creating like songs or
piece of writing. Yes, I heard about this one. Like now, journalism. I've seen a lot of news articles written so perfectly by AI. Pretty amazing. Like they're now becoming creative. Like AI isn't just if this then that. Like they are thinking and doing a lot of things that previously belonged to humans only, like creative work.
Exactly, and then. If that actually is going to happen, we need to rethink our complete society. Everything nowadays is based on work, right? everything is based around economy. That's our new religion almost, and that's gonna fall apart because it essentially in the end the cost, as Poujix mentioned, will go down for those machines, and there is a pressure, like companies gonna adapt, and they want to make money, so they're gonna replace humans with machines. That's what's gonna happen.
Exactly, so true. And now that we're seeing
essentially
this, go ahead.
The problem arises when for example, we actually had this conversation a while ago that we give value to members of society based on their productivity. And when machines can be more productive than humans, essentially by the definition of the society today, humans will become useless.
Absolutely.
So they don't have values.
That's right.
So
this is what happened.
As Marvin mentioned, the restructure of the society would be to not give people just value because of their potential productivity, etc.
And recently, you were talking about this one. I recently finished the audiobook called Artificial Intelligence, What Everybody Needs to Know. And in that prediction of their future, basically most jobs are going to be replaced. However, there were a few mentioning of three distinct type of jobs. One is the blue collar jobs, which almost all will be replaced by technology. Think about things that you have to do like with your overalls, right? So moving stuff around, I don't know, packing things, cashiers, all those things. That's the first to go. And it's going to go not only in the next decades, and I'm guessing the next few years actually is going to be heavily affected by this. The second one was white collar jobs, the jobs that require, you to be able to somehow process information. And since AI is all about learning and information, a lot of those jobs. I even heard about a case against lawyers because now lawyers charge by time. And if you can use an AI that can access all legal documents in a matter of seconds and respond to you, this will somehow reduce the costs for most people. And that means most lawyers will be out of job. And of course, the last one was the pink collar category. This is the last category to go because this category requires face-to-face interaction and human emotions. You earlier mentioned, Marvin, about emotions. I'm going to ask you a question about this one, but I don't think that AI, at least based on my knowledge today, I don't think AIs are currently capable of generating emotions for people. So let's say you want to go to a cafe somewhere, right? You want a human to serve you your coffee and say, welcome to our cafe. What can I get you? How do you feel right now? Or do you want a freaking robot, say like one of these Star Wars things, welcome to the cafe. What is your order? So generally speaking, there are certain fields. I mean, think about depression. How could a robot help you with your depression, right? So there are certain emotional fields that I think for the foreseeable future cannot be replaced easily with computers because we're still humans, right? We still have our biological needs. But I want to ask you one quick question right now. Do you think AIs in the future will be capable of emoting and generating emotions? Do you think possible?
Yeah, pretty sure.
How is that exactly possible? Because emotions do require to have a, let's say, hormonal component to them. It's not just the facial expressions, right?
That's true. But you could also simulate it. So the thing with AI in general is, even nowadays, our AI, we don't know 100% how the AI is doing what it's doing. So what you're doing is you create a model, you put some data in it, and then the AI learns and something comes out of it. But in this process, something else might emerge, and that might be emotions. When AIs get constantly better and better, it might be that they develop a form of consciousness.
Wow.
They're gonna ask themselves who they are, and maybe a feeling or feelings is part of their thinking. Maybe it's just coming, it's just a natural thing that belongs to a consciousness. 100% I cannot say if that's true, but this might very well happen.
Wow, it's so true.
Anyway, if they're going to get better, they might just fake it. They might just be capable of showing emotions without actually feeling them.
Wow, in a psychopathic manner, like psychopaths.
Yeah,
precisely. That's actually happening today.
Exactly.
No, seriously. But those computer, Japanese people are very advanced in robotics, and they're creating robotics that are very, very much capable of actually being a psychopath, essentially, faking emotions. They're very good at it. to the degree that like a non-trained human would really fall for it, I would say.
Interesting. Quite amazing. So you're talking about this development in the field of AI, and we're talking about the negative aspects, of course, because let's be honest, we don't like our jobs to be taken away by AI, but obviously there has to be some benefits to it as well for the humanities. So generally speaking, Marvin, do you think this development in AI is going to help us as a species? Because based upon my opinion, we are creating a new species. I mean, we are creating a non-organic species called the AI, basically form of life, because these guys are going to develop their consciousness. They will think about their own survival. I mean, I'm not sure if you are familiar with the video game Detroit Become Human, which came out a while back, basically.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
So actually, I'm not sure if you finished that one. In that video game, you see that these robots are programmed so well advanced that eventually, once they develop their intelligence, they want to live. So what will happen when that AI with that superhuman intelligence will become concerned about his or her well-being? And then the owner says, I will turn you off. And in return, that AI will, as the game portrayed it, will somehow circumvent its protection system and actually attacks its own owners. We're literally seeing something like the Terminator, where like this new species will then try to dominate humanity. I mean, because if we are going to program the AIs after humanity's consciousness, as we know, we humans are power oriented. So we want to dominate. We want to expand. So what if we program this new species, which thinks much better than we do, does not need to eat food or take rest, and more importantly is super disciplined and is working 24/7. What will happen if this species that is modeled after our way of thinking starts dominating us in everything, not only in sports and in politics, but in every other area? What if humanity becomes second-class citizens, guys? That is my concern.
Well, that depends on the moral of the AI, right? It depends on what they believe it's good and what they believe it's bad, and like their goals and aims. So, it's very likely, I think, that in the future they might all, they become more powerful than we are today.
Wow.
And if they want, they actually, can call us second-class citizens. That might really happen. The question is, do they really want this? And then we talk about morals. We talk about, coexistence, things like that. Contrary to that, unfortunately, our movement is not really, going into that direction. We're more under like in a really competitive environment. And the game you mentioned, kind of showed that really, right? People become afraid. They get defensive. So, it is very likely that, things can end in a fight.
Wow.
In a conflict. But I want to raise the attention towards a different problem that's not really, mentioned. So we always think of AI in terms of like, they take over, they dominate us eventually because they become more and more intelligent. But, a different problem I see is that if you look at who's developing AI right now, that is, multi-billionaire companies, that basically, gather huge amounts of power. So I see more threat from people abusing AI
I would agree.
for their own needs, maybe even before we reach like a general AI that's outperforms us.
Wow.
But even before that, I think there's huge potential for abusing AI, maybe like in weapons technology. That I think that's a real threat too that we should think about.
Oh my goodness. So what do you think, Poujix, about this one, about AI dominating humanity?
Yeah, I would 100% agree with Marvin. I would say that we are in a more imminent danger of us humans using artificial intelligence against each other, weaponizing it in weapon system, and weaponize it against other, like humans using AI as a tool against humans, rather than actually AI is taking over. I really I can't really see a probabilistic scenario that AIs would take over, like a dystopian version of a Terminator movie. I would not see it as a probable scenario, honestly. But I am, like, in terms of concerns, my immediate concern would be AI being weaponized, not even job market, because it might be tough, like the industrial era, but we'll cope with that. That's fine. That's manageable. But if you weaponize AI, then there might not be an end. It can very well be. We hope we unleashed a nuclear war prior to that, I think.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So I would be much worried about weaponizing AI. And the good thing that is that that we have right now as a countermeasure a little is that we have a lot of AIs. So AI is very democratized, although big billionaire companies and perhaps government entities are developing the best ones, of course, because they have much more money. But AI is very open source, and much more small companies are also developing their own versions and experimenting with it. But I would agree with Marvin 100%. That would be my major concern in terms of, like, if there is an existential crisis, that would be AI is becoming weaponized.
Interesting. Good point. So now that we've talked about AI and how they will affect us economically, let us talk about the other impacts of AI, let's say in science, education, even in relationships. I mean, like, what happens if someday AIs become so intelligent and that's basically vision of Detroit Become Human, where they actually look like human beings? In that condition, a lot of moral issues will be, and also legal problems. So let's talk about those moral and legal problems. Let's say your self-driving car kills a pedestrian. Who is to blame here? Let's say that you programmed your robots, for example, your AI robots that you just bought from Japan to clean your house, and then he or she steals, for example, your money. So what are the legal and moral issues that will arise? What if, for example, one day AIs are so well developed that they do not want you to turn them off? And that if you do so, are you committing murder by turning off that robot? So there are going to be a lot of huge moral and legal implications to AI. So Marvin, what do you think about these issues? How will we solve these issues?
Well, the legal issues already are coming up. We had accidents with self-driving cars that hit pedestrians and they died from it. And that's already, like, huge legal battles coming up. There hasn't been, to my knowledge, no court did say anything in specific so far. Didn't rule anything so far that was really relevant. But I think we're going to see that in the next years. The question is, whose fault is it if the AI makes a fault, not just like a programming issue. It's even more complicated when they, as you mentioned, start to think by themselves, and if they, actually, it's not an error. It's an act that was caused by themselves. That's when it gets really complicated, and then we move into a field where we need to think about what is an identity, what is something. We're going again into, like, morals, like, we need
exactly
to think about,
what is humanity, do we have soul, all these things.
Yeah, who's a person and who's not a person.
Exactly.
So far, our way of defining that is by intelligence. That's quite funny. So, or our moral system works a bit like that. So the more developed the species is, the higher its value almost. So with humans being the most intelligent species right now, we, as far as we know so far at least, we think of ourselves as being, the most important ones. But, like, what happens if, machines develop a consciousness, if they actually start to have feelings, if they have an identity? Then we got to talk about, seeing them as persons, and if you want to call them as humans, if that's what you want to name them, but that will come up.
Exactly.
For sure.
So true. Poujix, what do you think?
Well, yeah, the legal battle's very Marvin explained it very well. And so the identity problem would be, of course, an issue. So, as you mentioned, like the moral system, we basically define our moral system based on consciousness, and we say, for example, all this anti-abortion or animal rights movement is based on how conscious or unconscious, how aware, how alive, or like in terms of intelligent they are. So the question becomes when these things, these machines become self-aware. Okay, they're aware. Now, what do we do with them? Of course, there's going to be a huge debate there. I'm sure a lot of people have different opinions on the matter. As the things unfold, we get better understanding of what this is, and then we make a judgment based on that, and that can have huge implications, of course. Well, when it comes to taking responsibility, then if these things are self-aware, then maybe they shouldn't be manufactured for those use cases that, for example, to clean your home. Maybe they should be programmed to clean your home, not being self-conscious to clean your home.
Wow.
Maybe
that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
like, dude, you clean your own goddamn home. Oh my goodness! Imagine like what happens.
Right? And if they are designed to clean your home, then they should be basically, and if they're self-aware and also supposed to clean your home, then maybe they're their own person. Like if you have a maid, what would you do? It's not just the company's fault; it's the person's also. So yeah, it's a lot of boundary cases, of course. And as we all know, the problem with the regulations is that we are really, really slow. Maybe they can help us speed this up. You never know. but so yeah, the regulation has to catch up for sure.
Interesting. Very well. So this topic of AI, you want to go ahead, Marvin?
Just a quick point. I don't think it's gonna be an easy flow. I don't think it's gonna be easy. I think we're gonna see huge fights about this.
Yeah,
people,
I would agree.
Claiming, machines are not persons. Basically saying they have no feelings, no consciousness, and that's why they're not considered a legal body. And I think we're gonna see fights about this. Pretty sure.
Interesting. Very nice. The issue of AI is very, very advanced, and we will definitely want to continue this discussion in the future, especially with you, Marvin. But since we're gradually running out of time, I want to pose two questions for both of you. It's a bit sci-fi, but I just want to make a point here. And
I like sci-fi.
That's right. It's going to be very similar to that Detroit Become Human exclusive title on PS4. So I'm going to ask you both two questions. Imagine two cases. Number one, you start dating a girl. Just imagine you're single and you start dating a girl. And after about a year or so, she tells you that she is an AI machine. And you have loved this girl. Everything was great. And then you realize this was actually an AI. And in this condition, what will you do? Will you continue the relationship or will you stop it? And number two, second case. At some point, you get into a problem, basically, with, for example, an AI who comes and tells you, I'm in a lot of pain. Please kill me. So just shut me off right now. And you know that this is a thinking being. Can you pull off that plug and can you kill that AI without feeling guilty? So think of these both cases right now, these moral cases, and your reactions. First, you, Poujix. In case one, you realize that the girl you've been banging around for the past year was actually an AI, and you're madly in love with this chick, but this chick was actually an AI robot. And number two, you want to kill this robot, and all the emotions, as Marvin mentioned, are there. Everything is there. Would you feel guilty for killing this conscious AI or not? First, your feedback.
So, look, so in the first case, I mean, honestly, if I couldn't tell, would it matter? That's a big question.
It would not matter for you.
Which is actually, so that's the question is raised actually in the TV show Westworld, which is along the same lines. So my point is, no, it wouldn't really matter to me. So in that sense, I would mostly care to.
So you'd be happy. It's like, so you're a robot, which means you never have any problems. Let's do it 5 times per day, then. All right.
So yeah. So the point is, like, my point of view on the matter is basically mainly in the self-awareness of the individual. Let me call it.
So when the AI tells you that I love you, is that real? When that machine thing tells you that she loves you, is that real?
So if a real girl, like if a human girl tells me she loves me, is that real?
Well,
I think it is as real as the other one is.
Interesting.
Pretty much real. So if you classify one unreal, I would say the other one is not real as well.
Interesting. Good point. Marvin, let's go back to this girlfriend thing. So do you think that when that machine AI girl thing, which is pretty hot and has boobs the size of like big oranges and whatnot, but is actually a robot, will tell you that she loves you, but she looks gorgeous because it's designed in this manufacturing and it's designed based upon the most beautiful woman on earth. Do you still care? Do you change your relationship after that or not?
Well, in my relationships, I really care about personality and feelings. So if the AI can show me, okay, if the AI is authentic in showing me feelings and telling me her emotions, sure, then why not? Then I'm completely on Poujix's side. Wow. I agree 100% with them.
We have just disappointed all of our female listeners. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to find boyfriends in the future.
By the way, this goes both ways.
Oh my goodness.
My robots too. It's like,
oh really? So we have disappointed everybody, basically. So in 50 years, we'll be sleeping with robots all the time. Humans are not going to mate with humans anymore. Dude, think about it. Gonna create a lot of problems. All right.
Yeah,
second case.
Why should they love us? Right?
That's right. The second case, killing that conscious robot. Would you feel guilty for doing so? First, you, Poujix.
Again, I would say as much as I would feel guilty considering regarding a conscious human being, I would feel guilty about unplugging a synthetic life.
Wow, man, we're talking Star Wars here. How about you, Marvin?
It's hard. Basically, the same as the first issue. You think what you would do, but if that's actually what you would do, that's quite a different thing. So I guess I would feel guilty. But the thing is, when it comes to morals and life and death, it's also about the acts that you do, like the things you do. So switching off a machine, which is basically just pressing a button, let's just say it's that, is totally different and way easier to do than actually killing a person.
Very true.
So, the act of switching off a machine seems pretty, it's a fast thing, it's quick, it's not burdened with like a lot of morals, a lot of guilt. It's kind of, it goes into the direction of like those classic philosophical contradictions where we think about, would you rather save the 4 kids by, killing one guy, actively killing one, or would you not act to save more? So we always want to be passive, and not actively doing something. And I think switching off a machine is way more passive, and that's why
we've been doing it all along. So.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah, we used it, right?
That's amazing. That's truly amazing.
Now it has different implications, though, in this particular case. But
we are changing the definition of murder here. That's quite incredible. Wow.
So that's actually true. I have to say that's another aspect that's true. But and also like if it's only turning off, you can always turn it back on.
Yeah,
so,
like a screen
that's
saver,
easy. But then if you like actually wipe it or something.
Oh my goodness! What if you wipe the memory of that robot and that robot has no recollection of what happened in the past 20 years of his or her life?
Yeah, I think that would be more like a death situation.
Oh my goodness. We're talking, guys, we are, as a species, are changing the very course of history here. And I think AI is the next big thing, really. I don't think that SpaceX and space exploration is the next big thing, because AI will take over all of that stuff. Because ultimately, when it comes to space exploration, you still got to have this Elon Musk who smokes pot on podcasts, basically, and runs these things. And on the other hand, when it comes to AI, AIs don't need to smoke pot, man. These guys are going to kick the ass of all Elon Musks of the future, quite frankly speaking. And that is precisely why I think we should be very careful about where we're headed. Of course, this topic is just incredible and super advanced, so we have a lot to cover in the future, and we will definitely do so in basically in our future episodes with the help of Marvin.
And if I may give you a little bit of a taste here, we have completely ignored an avenue of future being humans becoming enhanced.
Wow.
Which we'll
with the AI.
later.
Of course, we're going to cover that as well in the future programs. Amazing things. This AI thing, dude, is going to take over the world, just like Elon Musk smoking marijuana ruined its stocks, basically. So we're going to see about that one. So for now, running out of time, let's go for a final comment. First, you, Poujix, after all that we talked today, what is now your conclusion?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting realm. I would say for everybody who's interested or got interested today, definitely go read more, even for the sake of, like it's literally quite like a sci-fi story, unfolding. So even reading about it out of pleasure would be nice as well. It will inform you. So when the time comes, you're not super surprised when, these moral questions are raised. Yeah,
fantastic. Marvin, what is your conclusion after all of our discussions?
I think we need to actively engage with this discussion. If knowledge is created, if we build AI, that has implications on it, and it can be undone. It will happen, and we need to have this discussion. How do we deal with it? How do we create the most positive outcome out of it? And there is a lot of positive outcomes that are possible, and I wish we will be living in a future that consists of out of one of those outcomes. So that's my hope for it.
Fantastic. And that's all the time we have for, ladies and gentlemen. If you are right now shocked and at the same time hopeless that in the future you won't find any boyfriend or girlfriend, then don't worry. You're not alone. You cannot compete with these things made of all this perfect textures and whatnot. So sorry, they're not going to complain. They're never tired, and they're never basically bloated. They're always ready for it. So that's right. If you want to compete, learn to be ready all the time. You're going to have to compete with these robots in the future. So take care of your boyfriends and girlfriends. That's right. Very well. And that's all the time we have for. If you are now listening on the web, please, guys, come on. We're talking about AI, and you're literally listening on an Internet Explorer page here. So just head over to your App Store or Google Play and download basically the latest apps and try to listen to us on Podcasts app on iTunes as well as Google Play for Android users. Thank you very much for tuning in, and hopefully we're going to see you in our future programs as well. Have a great time. My name is Daniel Mulligan, and that's all the time we have for. Bye for now.